So, today we're going to trace a story of descent. It's about how an extraordinary talent, these gifted hands that were meant for healing, can be led down a path that ends up somewhere, well, somewhere dark and completely unrecognizable. And it all kicks off with a simple, familiar compliment.
It's what your mother always used to say. It's the one thing that's always been true, the thing you've carried your whole life. From fixing broken toys as a kid to stitching up your own knee once, these hands were your gift. They were your destiny. They were supposed to make you a surgeon. But you know, a gift isn't always enough. And that's really where our story begins, right at that intersection of incredible potential and just crushing reality. On one side of the ledger, you've got the dream, right? Becoming a surgeon, a whole future built on that scholarship you were so close to getting. But then there's the other side, the reality. You're a surgical tech, you're handing tools to the very people you were supposed to be. You're drowning in debt, and there's an eviction notice sitting on your kitchen counter. And that huge gap between the dream and the reality, that's where desperation starts to take root.
Look, it's never just one thing, is it? It's the suspended enrollment for med school, that dream just put on hold. It's the mountain of debt that just never seems to get any smaller. It's the landlord who's finally run out of patience. And then, the phone call from your sister. She needs $800 for her car payment. And that's the final straw that makes the whole thing just collapse.
And that is the exact moment Dmitry finds you. Not in a hospital office, no. He finds you in the parking garage after a long shift. He says he's heard about you, heard you're talented, and he offers you a business opportunity on this blank card with nothing but a phone number on it, a card you immediately throw away, and then desperately fish out of your memory when the walls really start closing in.
And this is that first step down. This whole section is about that critical moment, that first compromise, and the really powerful stories we tell ourselves to justify it.
I mean, this is the classic slippery slope, right? You tell yourself, I'm just going to listen. That's it. Just hear the guy out. You convince yourself that being curious isn't the same as committing, that listening isn't the same as agreeing. It's this small, logical lie that makes the next step even possible.
And just look at how Dmitry frames it. The language he uses is so clinical. A hotel room, a sedated man, one kidney removal. He doesn't describe a crime, he describes a procedure. Clean, fast, professional. He's basically offering you a job that uses your exact skills, just, a little outside the legal lines.
And the result? Oh, it's immediate. $8,000 in cash slid right under your door. And that's not some abstract number. That's rent paid, that's your sister's car payment, covered. It is the sound of a pressure valve being released instantly.
And here's how you live with it. You have to build a story to survive. You find out the man was paid, so you tell yourself he was willing. But there's a deeper part of you that knows that desperation can make willing and coerced look exactly the same from the outside. So you take that uncomfortable thought and you file it away. You shove it somewhere you don't have to look at it.
Okay, so you've done it once, and after that first time, the shock, it begins to fade. What was once completely unthinkable, slowly and very quietly becomes routine.
I mean, just think about that journey for a second. The first time you held a living, warm organ in your hands, time stopped. The sheer weight of it was overwhelming. But by job number 15, it's just a procedure. After 20, you don't even count anymore. The moral horror has been totally replaced by professional detachment.
And to manage this double life, you have to build a system. Part of it is just practical logistics. You get a burner phone, you keep a bag packed, you invent a sick aunt for your real job. And part of it is psychological. You even buy your own, better tools, treating it like a real craft. But the most important step, the one that makes it all work, you detach.
And that becomes the key skill you have to master. You literally split yourself in two. There's the part of you holding the scalpel, the part that acts with perfect precision. And then there's the other part, the part that's just watching from a distance, clinical and safe. It's a coping mechanism, sure, soldiers and surgeons use it, but you're using it to survive your own choices.
But here's the thing, even in this new reality, you still believe you're in control. You believe there is a line, a hard line, that you will not cross.
And then Dmitry calls with a different kind of job. This isn't a donor. This is a non-consensual removal. And your answer is immediate. It's absolute. No. Full stop. And for a moment, you actually feel like you've won, like you've proven you still have a moral core.
You convince yourself that this line you just drew is a real solid wall. It protects you. It's proof that you're still a good person who just does some bad things on the side.
It is a powerful, comforting, and dangerous illusion.
Yeah, but illusions, by their very nature, they shatter, and the person who comes to shatter this one is your silent colleague, Sarah. She just shows up at your door one night to deliver a chilling, simple truth.
She sits down at your kitchen table, and she just says it, plain as day. There is no line. Just 4 words. And with those 4 words, your entire sense of self, your whole feeling of control, it just evaporates.
And her explanation is just devastating. The line isn't some fixed wall, she tells you. It's just a marker for where you happen to be standing right now. And you realize, with this horrible clarity, that marker has been slowly, imperceptibly moving with every single job you've taken.
And then comes the final, terrifying piece of her warning. Your skill, the very thing that got you into this, is the reason you can never leave. You're too good. You're too valuable. You are not a person to Dmitri. You are a tool, and he will never, ever let his best tool go. So, after Sarah leaves, you just sit there, in the quiet, and you make a choice. But it's not a choice between good and bad anymore. It's a choice between 2 different realities, between who you were supposed to be and who you actually are.
You look at your regular phone, the real one, with the number for the medical school still in it, the one that represents the person you were supposed to become. You look at it for a long, long time, and then you put it down. You pick up the second phone, the work phone, and you text Dmitri, "I'm available." It's a quiet, final surrender.
And in the end, you know what's terrifying? It isn't the work itself. It's the absence of terror. It's the fact that you can now go to bed and sleep soundly. The moral struggle is over because one side has just quietly won, and you're left with this one haunting question. What happens when your conscience finally goes silent and the dark just feels like home?